let's think about your brain for a second. It's got to be the most incredible piece of software on the entire planet, right? It's an absolute masterpiece. But like any software, it's got a few bugs, little glitches in the code that make us see things that aren't quite there or feel things that aren't exactly true. So today, we're going to explore 5 of these glitches, and this is the best part, we're going to learn how to hack them.
You know that weird feeling, right? You learn a new word, maybe a kind of obscure one, or you start thinking about buying a specific kind of car. And then, all of a sudden, boom, that word is in every article you read, and you see that car on every single street corner. What is going on there?
Well, sorry to break it to you, but you probably haven't developed any psychic powers. What you're experiencing is a classic, super predictable glitch in your brain's operating system. But these aren't really failures. They're more like mental shortcuts. And the really cool part is, once you understand how they work, you can actually use them to your advantage. Okay, let's dive into glitch number 1. This is the one we were just talking about. Officially, it's called the frequency illusion. You might have also heard it called the Baader-Meinhof Phenomenon. It's the reason why that new car you're thinking about buying suddenly feels like it's the most popular car on the road.
But here's the thing. The number of those cars on the road hasn't changed at all. The only thing that's changed is you. Your brain has just put a little flag on that piece of info, marking it as important. And now, it's actively scanning the world for it.
So this illusion is really a little 2-part trick your brain plays on you. First, selective attention kicks in. Out of all the millions of things you could notice, your brain suddenly says, hey, that red convertible, that's important now. Then, confirmation bias takes over. Every single time you see that car, your brain goes, see, I knew it, they're everywhere. It's just looking for proof to back up its new belief.
And this is where we get to the fun part, the hacks. If you want to learn a new skill, let's say a few phrases in another language, just spend 5 minutes on it first thing in the morning. By priming your brain like that, you've basically told your selective attention to be on the lookout for that language all day long. You've turned a weird little glitch into a powerful learning tool.
All right, let's move on to glitch number 2. This one is responsible for so much unnecessary anxiety. You know the feeling. You're walking into a room, a big meeting, and you look down and realize there's a tiny coffee stain on your shirt. Instantly, you feel like there's a giant neon sign pointing right at it. Everyone is staring. Well, that feeling has a name. It's called the spotlight effect. It's that deep down feeling that we're constantly on a stage and every single one of our flaws is being watched and judged by an audience. The truth is, we think that social spotlight on us is way, way brighter than it actually is.
There's a classic study that just proves this perfectly. Researchers had students wear what they all agreed was an embarrassing t-shirt. It had a picture of the singer Barry Manilow on it. And then walk into a room full of other students. The ones wearing this shirt predicted that at least half the people in the room would notice it. But the reality? As you can see, only about a quarter of them even registered it. The spotlight in our head is literally twice as bright as the one in reality. So what's the hack here? It's really a mental shift. It's the liberating truth that most people are just too busy being the main character in their own movie, worrying about their own coffee stains, to even notice yours. Realizing that gives you this incredible freedom to just relax, to just be yourself.
Glitch number 3 is so wonderfully counterintuitive. It's named after Benjamin Franklin, who supposedly used this trick to turn a political rival into a friend. And it completely flips what we think we know about getting people on our side.
I mean, our natural instinct, if we want someone to like us, is to do something nice for them, right? Buy them a coffee, help them out. But the Ben Franklin effect suggests that the exact opposite is way more powerful. Ask them to do a small, simple favor for you. That's what Franklin did. He asked to borrow a book. So why on earth does this work? Well, the magic is in a little concept called cognitive dissonance. See, the human brain hates it when our actions and our beliefs don't line up. So when someone does you a favor, their brain has to justify it. It thinks, I just did something nice for this person. Why would I do that? Well, I must actually kind of like them. Their brain actually changes its own opinion of you to make everything make sense. Now, obviously, this isn't about asking for huge, life-altering favors. The hack is to start small, super small. Ask a coworker for their quick opinion on an email. Ask to borrow a pen. Each tiny favor is like a little investment they're making in you. And over time, those small investments can totally shift how they see you.
All right, on to glitch number 4. This one. This is the secret fuel behind procrastination. You know that nagging feeling when you have an unfinished task hanging over your head?
That mental itch you just can't scratch? That, my friends, is the Zeigarnik Effect at work.
This whole principle was actually discovered by watching waiters in a busy cafe. They could remember these incredibly complex orders for tables that hadn't paid yet, just perfectly. But the second the bill was paid and that task was complete, poof, they'd almost instantly forget all the details. Our brains are literally hardwired to obsess over open loops.
See, an unfinished task creates this very specific kind of mental tension. Your brain is craving that feeling of closure. You know that little hit of dopamine you get from checking something off a to-do list? And to get that reward, it keeps that unfinished task on a constant nagging loop right at the front of your mind.
And this brings us to one of the absolute best anti-procrastination hacks there is. If you've got a huge project you just can't bring yourself to face, don't tell yourself you have to finish it. Just tell yourself you have to start it. That's it. Open the document. Write one sentence. Just by beginning, you've opened that loop and you've activated the Zeigarnik Effect. You've created that mental tension that will now actually help push you towards finishing it.
And finally, we've arrived at our fifth and final glitch, and oh boy, this is a big one. It explains a lot about the world. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's the reason why sometimes the people with the least amount of skill are the most confident in their abilities.
It's often described as a double burden. A person's incompetence doesn't just make them perform poorly. It also robs them of the very ability to see how badly they're doing. They literally don't know what they don't know.
The research on this is just stunning. In some of the original studies, they took the bottom 25% of performers on a test, the people in the absolute lowest quartile, and they asked them to guess how well they did. They didn't think they were at the bottom. On average, they believed they performed at or above the 60th percentile. They weren't just wrong, they were confidently wrong.
So how do we avoid falling into this trap ourselves? The hack is to embrace what's called the paradox of expertise. True experts often feel like imposters, because the more they learn about a subject, the more they become aware of just how much they still don't know. So the takeaway is simple, but it's really powerful. Stay humble, assume you have blind spots, and actively seek out honest feedback from people you trust.
So there you have it. From seeing things everywhere to not seeing our own flaws, our brains are constantly taking these little shortcuts. They're incredible survival machines, for sure, but they weren't necessarily built for perfect, objective logic in our modern world. But by understanding these glitches, we can start to debug our own thinking, right? We can become more effective, a little less anxious, and maybe just a bit wiser. So my question for you is, which one of these glitches do you see playing out most often in your own life? Really think about it, because the first step to hacking your brain is simply noticing how it works.